Soon we will hear individual presentations from the executives of the three ports. Following their presentations, I will moderate a question and answer session with all three speakers, so start listening and get ready for a question. To kick off things, the Port of Benton, Port of Kennewick, and Port of Pasco have teamed up for today's opening video, appropriately titled, What's a Port?
What is a port? Why do we have them? Why 3 port districts? Port districts were authorized by the state in 1911 to encourage waterfront commerce. Since then, their economic development roles have expanded beyond the waterfront to building and operating airports, marinas, marine terminals, railroads, and industrial parks, to acting as a catalyst for community revitalization, business development, and tourism. In our state, port districts are established by citizen vote. There are 75 port districts in Washington state, from massive districts like Port of Seattle to very small districts like Port of Colotis. Yet they all share the same mission: economic development. Port of Kennewick was formed in 1915 and is the oldest port in eastern Washington. Port of Kennewick covers most of East Benton County, including Kennewick, Richland, West Richland, and a portion of Benton City. Port of Pasco was formed in 1940. Port of Pasco covers most of Franklin County from Pasco to Connell. Port of Benton was formed in 1958. The Port of Benton covers most of West Benton County, including Richland, Benton City, and Prosser. Each port uniquely evolved since being established, and they continue to engage in those activities which best address the changing needs of their districts.
Our first guest speaker today is Diane Howard. Diane was named the Port of Benton's Executive Director in December 2019. She had previously served as the Port's Director of Economic Development and Government Affairs. During her 19 years, Diane and I used to work together at City of Richland. I can't believe it's been 19 years since you left. Diane's efforts have resulted in over $30 million in grant and legislative funding. Additionally, under her leadership, the Port administers the Vertical Innovation Cluster. Vertical is working with industry to solve supply chain, workforce, and other challenges to accelerate the development of next-generation nuclear energy. She is the first woman to hold the executive director position at the Port of Benton, and the first executive director with Latina heritage among the 75 port districts within Washington state. Please help me welcome Diane Howard.
And I'm just going to go right to it. So good afternoon, everybody. I am very grateful for the opportunity to be here with all of you today. On behalf of the Port of Benton commissioners and team members, thank you to the Regional Chamber of Commerce for the opportunity to highlight some of our efforts to foster economic development with our partners. The map outlines the Port of Benton's district in blue. Our district covers 2/3 of Benton County, representing about 56,000 people. The Port's 3 elected commissioners pictured on this slide each represent a portion of the larger district, as shown in yellow, red, and green. Washington ports are unique special purpose districts with the primary mission of promoting economic development. At Port of Benton, our efforts to bolster the economy and facilitate jobs are focused on 3 primary areas: supporting the growth of business, leveraging our regional assets to spur private investment, and fostering trade and tourism. Over the last few years, the Port team has completed a significant number of major projects utilizing federal and state grants. Here are a few highlights from our recent work. And a big thanks to the state of Washington and Senator Binky for their support as we replaced rail crossings at Airport Way and St. Street in Richland, which allows trains to cross the intersections faster. And we also have replaced thousands of rail ties. You may not know that the Port of Benton's rail line is unique because it's one of only few in Washington state that is served by both Class I railroads, Union Pacific and BNSF Railway. Every year, industries in North Richland move more than 1.3 million tons of freight in and out of our area on our rail line, making it the second heaviest annual tonnage of goods transported on the short line in the state of Washington. That's a lot of fries and a lot of cattle feed. So we replaced also the runway and electrical system, lighting, and rehabilitated the pavement at the Richland Airport, thanks to our continued partnership and funding from the Federal Aviation Administration. The port's general aviation airports in both Richland and Prosser support businesses, tourism, and agriculture. They also provide home bases for the Life Flight, air ambulance, and firefighting aviation companies that provide for our community's safety during the summer months. We've also remodeled and updated some of our port buildings, including our newest acquisition, the Innovation and Commercialization Center in Richland. Thanks to economic development dollars from Benton County's Rural County Capital Funds, their investment, partnered with the port, has readied this building to support new clean energy companies and startups. Businesses in port facilities and properties employ over 3,000 people and generate more than $600 million in revenue yearly, representing about 5% of Benton County's economy. On one of the most enjoyable parts of the port's work for us is supporting business growth from entrepreneurs and startups to global corporations. Some examples of our partnership with the City of Richland on the 1,641-acre Northwest Advanced Clean Energy Park, that also includes Energy Northwest. Renewable fertilizer company Atlas Agro is under contract with the port to purchase 150 acres of the Clean Energy Park. Atlas Agro is expected to create up to 235 full-time jobs, plus hundreds more during construction, and over 1,000 indirect jobs for our region. Seattle-based fusion company Avalanche Energy also recently announced a new fusion test facility that's planned in a port facility. Avalanche is expected to invest $39 million and hire between 23 and 60 locally, starting in 2027. We're also pleased to support the growth of Tiridas Winery, which has opened a tasting room at the Clore Center Pavilion in Prosser. And we've also helped Pepper Preppers to expand by selling them one of our development buildings in Benton City. Looking ahead, we've got significant work coming up, and here's just a quick look at some of those planned projects. We are replacing our 6th railroad crossing since 2022. That project will begin at the end of May. That week-long project is SR2 Route 240 and will require road closures, and detours will be marked. With early communications to impacted neighborhoods and businesses is happening now. This project and others will improve and modernize our rail line, allowing the track to return to Class 2 conditions and train speeds up to 25 miles per hour. And we know that's important for the railroads, but also to you, as we reduce the time it is for you to wait for trains to get through the crossings. So we're going to take you from 18 minutes, as it currently stands, down to 4 minutes to pass through an intersection. This will also help not only your trip to work or the grocery store, but also our emergency responders. We're developing the Northwest Intermodal Facility near our rail-served industrial property in North Richland to support the vast and growing demand from our region's projects, from companies like Lamb Weston, the world's largest freezer, Lineage Logistics, Central Washington Corn Processors, and many others. Using rail and long-haul freight transportation helps us maximize efficiency because rail shipments to Washington seaports are able to be received 24/7. Plus, one freight train can haul the cargo that would otherwise require 300 trucks. This facility will also help us drive private sector investment, creating jobs and generating additional tax revenue for our community. And transitioning our economy beyond Hanford is essential. So we started conducting land and waterfront planning on the port's property along the Columbia River in North Richland for future development in collaboration with our economic development partners. This effort will ensure those limited waterfront resources are managed to their fullest potential and provide regional benefits consistent with the port's strategic plan. At the Prosser Airport, we have 2 projects fully planned, including rehabilitating the pavement and replacing the airport's electrical lighting systems. Additionally, we have several upgrades to our barge complex to accommodate larger vessels, provide shore power and port security for upcoming shipments, thanks to a $2.7 million state grant. And finally, to end, I am thrilled to invite you to join us for a very special event. On June 14th at 10 a.m., we will unveil a commemorative wall at the USS Triton Sail Park near our office building in Richland to honor 857 brave sailors who served aboard the historic submarine. We will highlight Operation Sandblast, the first submerged circumnavigation of the world that took place February to April 1960. This top-secret mission provided vital research for future nuclear submariners and marked Triton's place in history due to its impact on the nuclear age. We'll also offer tours inside the Triton's conning tower, so you don't want to miss it. We've partnered with many of Triton's veterans, some who live in our community, to plan the wall dedication event, and we hope that you will attend and celebrate and honor their service with us. It's an exciting time at the Port of Benton. Thank you to my team at the Port for their leadership and their dedication. Thank you to our partners, federal, state, Benton County, cities of Benton City, Prosser, and Richland, PETA, TriDec, Visit Tri-Cities, and all of the Chamber of Commerce. We appreciate the opportunity to be here with you today, and share some of our economic development efforts and to support our communities that we serve. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diane. Next, we'll hear from Tim Arntzen, the Chief Executive Officer of the Port of Kennewick. Tim has been the CEO since 2004. During Tim's tenure, the port has received awards for Clover Island restoration, Columbia Drive redevelopment, workforce and economic development best practices, and more. Tim is currently directing one of the most complex projects in the port's 110-year history, the redevelopment of the former Vista Field Airport into a regional town center. Please help me welcome Tim Arntzen.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is really great to be here. We have a beautiful sunny day out there, no wind. And, you know, sometimes we just need to take a moment and reflect on how good we've got it. I know we've all got things we're working through, but when you see the video of the hungry children in our community, that just kind of tears at your heart. So great performance there. And I guess I was unaware of that in our community. So thank you for that presentation. Well, I'm going to see if I can figure out how to work the clicker here. First, I want to talk a little bit about what I kind of think the ports are all about. And I'm glad to see the video because I actually learned a lot from that. I used to think there were 76 ports, but there's only 75. There are a lot of us, and we do different things. But I think this video helps kind of express who we are at the Port of Kennewick. We talk about fostering jobs. And, you know, one of the things that I always like to say is government, I know you don't want to hear this, but government typically does not create the jobs. It's the private sector. So at the Port of Kennewick, we don't talk about the jobs we create, but we talk about fostering the opportunities for the private sector. I think that's really important to understand that difference. The other thing is we build infrastructure, and that's kind of the underpinning of fostering jobs. What we're doing at some of our projects, and you'll see that when I get to the Vista Field slides, we put in the infrastructure, and then we turn around and offer the property for sale to the private sector. And I think that's a benefit because you don't have to put in $4 million of infrastructure. You can buy your lot for $80,000 or $300,000 or whatever it is. And I think it's a good role for the government to put in the infrastructure to set the table, so to speak, and then you back up and let the private sector do it, and you see all the job creation, all the wonderful things that the private sector does. The last part of this is one that I think is really kind of the fun part of being in the port industry. We enhance the quality of life. We build things like you see the picture of the lighthouse. We build boardwalks. You'll see some of the other fun stuff that we do. And you might ask yourself, well, how is that economic development? And I'll tell you a little story here. When we are out recruiting, when TriDeck and Chambers and everybody's out recruiting, we understand that we are being compared with other communities, such as Portland or Boise or Spokane. And when the business recruiters come here, they already know it's a good place to do business. They know that the property is relatively cheap, that we've got the infrastructure, we've got the government support. But what they really need to know next is this a place where we can hire quality employees and retain them? And you know, when I first came to the community about 30 years ago, that was a tough question for us. But over the time, we've been building some of these amenities, and it helps attract and retain the quality employees, like a lot of the folks in this room. And that's what businesses look for. So when we talk about enhancing the quality of life, it really is an underpinning of economic development. Now, this is the most important slide in my presentation. Right here. And I'm looking at Scotty Keller from Port of Benton. He gets it too. This is my commission, and we have Skip, who's been with us, 16 years now, Skip? And then we have Tom Oak, who's been with us, I think, 12. And Tom has made kind of a sad announcement. He's not going to be running for re-election, so there will be a vacancy there. And I asked Tom what he was going to do in retirement, and he really didn't know. He might move into Port of Benton District, Scotty. Okay, and then we have Ken Hohenberg. He's our newest commissioner, and you probably remember Ken is the police chief in Kennewick. When I was younger, he used to chase me around town, things like that. Now he's my boss. So here's a couple projects. First, you see the roundabout. That was Center Parkway in Richland, and as you saw in the video, one of the jurisdictions that we serve is the city of Richland. We help support that project. And then the next one is the police station in West Richland. We sold 93 acres of property we had in West Richland to the city of West Richland, and it was a great opportunity for them to put in their public safety building, the police office. This is the Clover Island shoreline a couple years ago. You see they poured concrete down the bank. That's what they did back in the 50s and 60s when they had a half load of concrete, just pour it down the bank for stabilization. And that's probably not the environmental aspect that Brian from McKay and Sposito looks at nowadays. We saw that too, as it was an eyesore for the public, and it also was not the most favorable habitat for wildlife. So we have worked on a project in conjunction with the Army Corps of Engineers and our good friends at the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation, and that's what it looks like now. So that project was really important. Financially for the community, it was a $5 million project with the Corps putting up $4 million, so that's leveraging funds to kind of save the taxpayers of our port district. But it's really a neat project because not only did it improve the habitat for wildlife, but you can see that we were able to put in some pathways upland, so it is available for public use. We see moms bringing the kids out there, we see grandparents, we see people using this, and it's really kind of a neat project when you can do both things, enhance the natural environment, maybe bring it back a little bit, and then also create some opportunities for the public. This is our wine village in East Kennewick. We have several wineries there, we have tasting rooms, we have food trucks. And one of the things that port districts try to do is you might go into a part of town that needs your help more than others. East Kennewick is that part of town. We picked up some gritty properties over the years. We converted them, we put in the infrastructure, and then we built some of the buildings for small wineries because that was a tool that we could use to enhance that part of the neighborhood. It's not like we really desired to get into the wine industry, but that was a tool to help revitalization. That's one of the things that port districts do. Now I've got Tana on my staff in the back of the room. She's supposed to start waving her arms when I have 2 minutes left, so I haven't seen my 2-minute warning yet, but everybody look at Tana. She's in the back. There she is. Thanks, Tana. Okay, this is what that area looked like before. I mean, look at it. That's just like, if you're a junk guy like Scotty and I, we like that stuff, but it's all been cleaned up. It was a community effort. I remember at the time we had Kennewick City Council members in waders out in the pond pulling tires out of that. This is behind the Wine Village slide you saw, and this is what it's like now. The city of Kennewick put in the pathway. You see the kids riding the bikes, see people enjoying the wine tasting room. So little by little, you make the progress that does try to help enhance our community. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Vista Field. That is the old airport that was in the center of our community. It was first a city of Kennewick property. They transferred it to the port. We operated it as a small general aviation airport for a number of years. It was not viable. We went through a community planning process, and the public suggested that we close the airport and that we bring it to some higher and better use. So what we're doing with Vista Field is it's called New Urbanism. It's creating a town center that is not the sprawl development that we kind of see in a lot of communities. It's meant to be more compact. And the best example I could give you quickly is it's kind of like some of our downtowns were built during the 20s and 30s, prior to World War II. Uh-oh, I see Tana waving. So I've got to speed it up. And this is one of our more noticeable projects. We've broken ground out there on several businesses that are coming in. It's a mixed-use community where we have small businesses, we have some medium-sized businesses, we have housing. It's mixed use, and you have to have the housing component, the rooftops, as they say, to continue to support and attract more businesses there. So it's a little bit more of a compact community. We've built in some of the amenities. We have a water feature, a stream, pathways. This is one of the projects that will be breaking ground this fall. It's a 5-story building with commercial retail on the bottom floor, 2 floors of apartments, and then 2 floors of condos, so people can buy and live in Vista Field. And it looks like from the picture there, 2, 4, 6, but we have 8 parcels that have been sold and spoken for. If you go out there now, you'll see 1 building already going up, and then we had the groundbreaking last week for Blueberry Bridal, a small locally curated business. There's a couple pictures. We have Blueberry Bridal. The way I'm looking at the screen, it's the white building on the, I guess, my left. Then you have on the bottom, Kuki Ezekaya. It's the Japanese restaurant that is being constructed. And then on the top, we have the eye clinic, and they're also building some tenant space that they can lease out. We have some hangars that were remnants of the old airport days. We are converting those into public use pavilions for like a Saturday market or performances for kids groups, things like that. That was done with funding from Benton County. They're great partners. They have some funding that they can pass through from the state to local jurisdictions, including our jurisdiction, and we're very, very thankful for the partnership with Benton County. This is just a rendering of what the first phase might look like at Vista Field, and we're at the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim. Our final guest speaker is a fresh face for this event, but a well-known leader in the community. Adam Lincoln took the reins as executive director of the Port of Pasco last month. Adam has held leadership positions in 4 municipal governments across Washington, having served as city administrator in Pullman, deputy city manager in Pasco, and most recently as city manager for the city of Pasco. As the new executive director of the Port of Pasco, Adam looks forward to expanding economic opportunities, strengthening infrastructure, and fostering regional growth. Please help me welcome Adam Lincoln.
It's always a little jarring when you see your head up on the screen for these things. So thank you. Really happy to be here today. Thank you to the Chamber for hosting this event. I'll try and fly through the litany of slides that I put together and try and keep in pace with my Patriots up here. So this is our 3 commissioners that we have. We've got backgrounds in ag, we've got backgrounds in power, and we've got backgrounds in wine and ag. So we've got quite the trio that really are great leaders, and I've been really pleased to work with them in my short tenure. Realize I put the wrong date on here because we are at 85 years, so 1940 as the video, so we're both being corrected, Tim, by things in the video. Almost 40 employees, and a lot of our revenue stream comes from the leases that we have. So we've got 198 tenants. This goes over some of the really geeky components of the fact that we are government, but it's really important to highlight the fact that we run the airport, and the airport is not at all paid for by your taxpayer dollars. We have that through the parking fees, the people that come in and out of there, and I don't see Buck glaring at me right now, so I must be at least in the ballpark for being correct, and no one's hooting from over there. Let's see, there we go. This is just to highlight the fact that we've got projects that are all over the community in Pasco, from the airport to our various industrial parks, making sure I don't slip slides here. In Big Pasco, we've got a variety of projects from making improvements to the airport to making sure that we're providing the industrial land that we need for our tenants to make sure that they can grow and keep up with commerce. Pasco processing as well. The airport has 10 different destinations that we can get you to today, and hopefully in the future we'll have other areas that we can fly to as well. But with the stable that we have right now, and being the third biggest airport in the state, we've got pretty good accessibility, and we really want to get the word out that you can fly from here in Pasco. It's we're trying to increase our advertising budget and make sure that everyone knows that this is the place to fly from. You don't have to drive to Spokane or Seattle or anywhere else, that you can get to where you need to go from here. And we've got several hubs that we fly to, a couple others that we're hopeful to get to in the future as well. This slide's just to highlight the fact that we've been on growth mode and some of the reasons that we're needing to expand our airport already. Last year alone, we hit the almost 950,000 employments, deplayments, and we're looking at growth rate that should put us above 1 million this year, or pretty close to it. So the next project that we just opened bids for was to add 3 more jetways and to expand the baggage, the facility that we have for baggage. We thought that was going to be about a $25 million project, and it came in closer to $13 million. So we're really excited to see the bids coming in lower, because that means we can do more out at the airport. We've got about $150 million of projects that are planned out there over the coming years. It's much sooner than we thought we would be doing projects out there. You know, I think it was 2017 was the last time that we did the big terminal project, but we're ready for it. And it means that we get to have conversations about where are some of the other destinations that we can talk about flying to. I think, you know, looking at DFW, looking at Nashville and some of these other areas, it's really exciting to be able to talk about our ability to carry airlines that can go to these destinations and places that we are hearing from you all that we want to be at. Along the airport there, along Argent, we've got our airport business center. We've got a lot of land that's available, so if you or anybody you know is looking to expand or have an opportunity to grow your business there, we've got facilities available. There's 2 hotels, one that's currently being built that's really exciting for us, and of course there's various restaurants and things like that that are going in there. I saw in the newspaper today another restaurant that was announced, so we're really excited to see that Bookwalters will be expanding over there in that area, not at that facility. And then there's the pictures of the current courtyard and the Home 2 suites that's under work already. If you drive out there, you can see it going vertical. It's pretty exciting to see that happening. The AIM Center is the next kind of future visionary project that our elected board has been talking about in conjunction with our economic development team. So we've got all the acreage that's around the airport, and it's an opportunity to look at how can we look at the future of what our aeronautical businesses can handle here. So maybe it's electric flights, maybe it's hydrogen powered. We're not sure yet. It's really something that we're trying to look at what is industry going to support out there. But we know we have 450 acres, and if we're intentional about trying to grow industry out there, I think you can see some really cool projects that come in the next several years out at that site. Dairy Gold's, of course, a project that you read a lot about. It's something that should be open this summer. It's going to create several new jobs in the area. It's about $1 billion investment, and we've already, in my brief tenure, we've sold another one of the lots that's out there. So we're really excited to see the growth, and it just kind of highlights the fact that we need more industrial land in our community, that we're in need of making expansions happen. This is a little more information about the 200 jobs that are going to be out there at the Dairy Gold site. They've been great partners. This is a combination of tax increment finance, state and federal dollars, partnership with the county in $0.09. It's really been kind of the how can government work together to make a project come together, and this has really been highlighting that. Another area, Research was a really exciting project that we got to help come to fruition here that works in partnership with the city as well. Also out there, we've got acreage where Old Dominion's been growing, and Amazon, the facility that helps us get our same-day deliveries, or at least next-day deliveries, is out there as well. I've certainly noticed that I get a lot more deliveries to my house now, and it's not just my family's fault, it's mostly mine. I'm part of the problem, I'm told. And then, of course, Research has been a great addition to our community as well. One of the bigger projects that we're really excited about has been the Osprey Point project. You've heard a lot about it, read a lot about it. We're hopeful that in the next few months we'll actually start seeing shovels in the ground out there. JMS has been a really great partner to work with, and something that I think is a visionary way to take a waterfront that is certainly underutilized on the Pasco side and try and emulate what we've seen on other parts of our shoreline in our community. So this is something that we're excited to see come to fruition. A couple other things that we're working on in partnership with many of you in the room in the government side and in the innovative space and Port of Benton as well has been the ag innovation conversation. Looking at how can we make a facility that really supports industry, that takes you to the next level in the ag space. And we're not totally sure what that looks like yet, but there's a lot of the right people in the room talking about how can we be innovative to support industry and make sure that ag is still part of the everyday conversation in the Tri-Cities. In addition, we've been talking about ag symbiosis, which I had to learn a lot about, but basically the waste material from different producers can be the product that others need to support their businesses and grow their businesses, not dissimilar to what the city's been doing out at the water reuse facilities, so taking the products, creating the natural gas, selling the natural gas, things like that, but on a bigger scale. We've seen some of our partners in Europe and Denmark in particular that have made this really a successful model, and we'd like to emulate that as well. We've also been partnering with folks in North Franklin County to help them out. Connell obviously saw a closure that was unexpected for them, and we want to be a part of the solution for them, trying to find industries that can come in and support other parts of the northern county. We've been working with through a grant from the state to help ideate what's going to go out there next. So more to come with a partnership with the city of Connell, but it's nice to be supporting other cities that are certainly growing and bustling. A couple projects that you've probably heard a little bit about, the cable bridge LEDs in particular is one where we're excited to help kind of make that come to fruition in partnership with Visit Tri-Cities and several others. Just kind of a showcase piece for our community where you can have the bridge come out in different colors in support of different events, but definitely a piece that we want to highlight. And then, of course, need to talk about the need to support our dams. That's been a big part of our conversation at the port. And along with that has been our need for industrial land and our need for more power. So I'm excited to get into these conversations in my new role with the port, something that a lot of you have been at the table for already, but I'm excited just to see how we can expand and keep the conversation going there. So I think I finally hit the end quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane, Adam, and Tim. All right, it's question and answer time. Who's got questions?
Any updates on the proposed casino in the Pasco area?
So that's still going through I'll try and answer for the city, and then for Billy if he's here. That's still going through the federal process of having the land turned over to reservation land. And once it goes through that, then they'll be able to get underway with their other phases. I think the first phase that they were looking at doing is a truck stop facility similar to Love's out there. So I think once you see that project come out of the ground, you'll know it's getting closer.
Yeah, I was just curious if there's any talk or any chatter of water parks coming to the Tri-Cities. I know there's been talk in the past about Pasco and Kennewick collaborating, but I'd love to know if that's on the horizon.
Matt, you should take that one.
Matt Watkins, Pasco Public Facilities District. We started construction on a regional aquatics facility 2 weeks ago. Concrete is being in the ground, being completed Memorial Day 2026. Hey.
I was curious, are the ports involved with the Bateman Island causeway removal work? That's all Corps and city? Okay.
Well, I can speak to that a little bit. At Port of Kennewick, we have a marina, roughly 150 slips, and we've been running traditionally at about 90% occupancy. We have been working with the owners of the Columbia Park Marina that is just downstream from the causeway that will be breached. And my understanding is that all of their boaters are transitioning out. We have been working as much as we can to try to find spaces for people. But again, when we're at 90% occupancy, it really doesn't leave a lot of wiggle room in there. But we're kind of seeing it from, there's an economic side of this, there's an environmental side of it, and we're kind of seeing it from the economic side, the quality of life side, when there's going to be a lot of folks that just don't have slips for the boats. But that's really all I can speak to on that project. But at Port Kennewick, we've been trying to help find places for those boaters that will be displaced.
I actually have a question, and I know the ports work together via tri-ports and collaboratively. Collectively, what do you think is the biggest challenge in the next 5 or 10 years for the ports, if there's a single answer, or if you individually challenge for the ports?
We all need power. The whole community needs power. We've got industrial development needs. We have 300 megawatts of power as a region that we need. We've got existing industries that are growing that are hindered because there's a lack of power. So I think that's everyone's issue. In addition, the other thing we hear out of industry is workforce. But I wanted to comment on the last question too, as well as that might also be tied in potentially to our future planning efforts in North Richland on the waterfront. If there is a way for us to provide an opportunity to help up there, we're definitely going to seek it.
Good afternoon. My name is Thomas Trost. Just real quick, you mentioned that at the airport we have many other destinations that we're looking to go to. What about other airlines servicing Pasco, like specifically when is Southwest coming?
We do, airlines have this thing called like airline, it's got a formal name, and Buck's gonna shake his head at me as I say this, but basically you go to these conferences and it's sort of like speed dating, but with airlines. And so he recently attended a conference like that where he's out talking to the airlines. That's a regular occurrence. We're always looking for who's interested to come out here next. You never want to be vacant. You want to make sure that you have as many people that are interested in talking about the airport. So there's always the potential for new airlines. Nothing that's ready to be announced, but certainly that's on his mind.
All right. How about we get a round of applause to Tim, Adam, and Diane.